Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Football Frenzy on 94.1 WIP. I'm your host, John Liuzzi, alongside my partners Ethan Shue and Matt Cavasco, and we're going to break down the NFC East this year for the National Football League. The NFC East has been one of the uncompetitive divisions in the National Football League in the past couple years, but this year look for it to be more competitive as all teams put a lot of work into their off-season jobs this year. So Ethan, who is your most surprising team that has put a lot into their team throughout this entire offseason?
Well, all these teams have, as you said, have made significant additions, but obviously I think every team has upgraded at the wide receiver position. The Giants got Brandon Marshall, the Redskins got Terrell Pryor, the Eagles got Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith, and the Cowboys, I believe, just still have Des Bryant.
They drafted Switzer.
Okay. So the Eagles obviously have made a ton of additions on the offensive side, especially the receiver core, because they need that depth, which they really lacked last year. But I think the Giants have made a significant contribution to their offense with Brandon Marshall and their defense with the chemistry from last year. The Giants are definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with if they stay healthy.
Man, how about you?
I think I agree with Ethan. The Giants have made significant contributions, actually on both sides of the ball. They made their defense, which was already really good, is now great because of their additions for a better safety that they've had. The safety position has been their weakest, you could say, in the past years, and they've re-signed a lot of their defensive ends, so they're going to be back and stronger than they have been.
I'm going to actually disagree with you, not only to go with the hometown team here in Philly, but I really think the Eagles put a lot of work, especially into their offense. Carson Wentz had no help at all in the wide receiver, and not even in running back. The running back position is still to be determined who's going to be the number one running back, but they definitely helped out Wentz in the wide out as they were able to bring in Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith, two threats who played two different styles of ball. Torrey likes to go with the deep threat. He's a very speed guy. Alshon normally stays close to the ball, but he also can go out deep, and Wentz just didn't have any help with the entire season. He only really had Jordan Matthews in last year, and even on the defensive side, I really like their first-round draft pick, Derek Barnett out of Tennessee. He's a D lineman. He knows he's not going to get as much playing time as the Eagles' D-line is pretty stacked right now, but he has been showing a lot of leadership, and he's picking up the playbook really fast, as defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz is saying after OTAs and minicamp. I really think he's going to be a big part of their defense, but they still don't have a great secondary. They brought some people in. They didn't draft as many people early in the draft as they needed to in the defensive side. They went more on the offense. I still think they might be surprising. They did have a couple wins here and there that they could have lost, and a couple losses they should have won where they just let the game go ahead of them.
Yeah, the Eagles their defense definitely got some major upgrades. Derek Barnett's going to be fantastic. He was not highly touted, especially as the draft went on. Marcus Lattimore fell all the way to the Saints, and that was not expected. So many Eagles fans were hoping that he would fall all the way to them. That did not happen. We got Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett looks like a great prospect. If he was worked on with Schwartz, he could be a Pro Bowler for many years to come. But as you said, the corner position, it definitely lacks a little bit. But Sidney Jones, if he gets healthy, if he gets back to the guy he was at Washington, this defense could be one of the best in the league as long as we get another good corner. But you were right, the offensive additions with LeGarrette Blount, the two receivers, and the rest of their newly bolstered offensive line, the Eagles, if not this year, the next year, are going to be a very, very good team.
You bring up Sidney Jones, who's injured right now with a torn ACL. If he comes back and performs like he did in college, the Eagles could have gotten a steal in the draft. Sidney Jones was projected to be a first-round draft pick. He fell all the way into the second round. The Eagles were able to snag him early in the second round. If he does come back, it's going to be a great steal. And Matt, final thoughts about the Dallas Cowboys. Do you think they're going to come out big like they did last year?
I think the Cowboys' offense it's the same. They kept all their pieces, which is really good, and they have a whole offseason together. They're going to improve, in my opinion. But on defensive side, their cornerbacks, which were already weak, they lost their top two in Morris Claiborne and Brandon Carr. They both went to the Brandon Carr went to the Jags, and Morris Claiborne went to the Giants. So their secondary is weak, but they drafted two corners out of Colorado, and that was big. I think the second round can be considered a steal with the way he was performing in college. And so we're looking to have a very competitive NFC East.
All right, that will do for Football Frenzy on 94.1 WIP. For Ethan Shu and Matt Cavazzo, I'm John Levy saying goodbye and thank you for tuning in.